Alright, so in this class, we'll be looking at the basic things you need to know in order to use Excel, starting with the Excel controls. So these are the outlines of what we'll be looking at, not limited to, but just so I don't forget uh, my, this is just as 7 as a guide. Alright, so let's start with the Excel controls. If you look at your Excel file, Excel page, you would see home, insert, page layout, data, review, view, help. Depending on the version of the Excel you are using, I will determine how this place will look like. Some displays might be white, depends. Alright, so most times you see your Excel come in something like this. For you to see the controls, so we'll use the, just before then, when you copy files into Excel, and or when you are typing something into Excel and it's longer than the column, you see it taking some other places. So what you just need to do is at the edge, just double tap the edge, this of the column. When you double tap it, it automatically fits. So if I type this and I double tap this edge, you see the edge with a thick cross. Alright, so it fits. We call it the auto fit. I'm just going to put it as the Excel auto fit. Alright, auto fit. Okay, so we have the Excel controls. For you to display the controls, you press the control button on your keyboard plus the F1. Alright, so I will go ahead and press that control F1. Can you see this place? So now you can see the content of those tabs. Alright, so to hide it, F1. I'm using a small screen, so that is why I leave it hidden so that I can have enough lines here. If I unhide, you can see 24 lines. Alright, okay, so for every tab you have sub sections. In the home, you have the clipboard section, font section, alignment section, number, styles, cells, editing. Click here, can also hide it. Alright, so to hide the formula bar, use this arrow. This is the formula bar. Formula bar. Okay, so I'm going to press my F1 to display for the insert. You have other sections: pivot table, recommended tables, table illustration. This is where you want to put in your pictures, your screenshots, the shapes. Alright, if you are doing a workflow. Alright, okay, and so many other things. You'll be using this section a lot: the charts, pivots, the 3D, the line column, filters, link, and many others. Okay, For the page layout, this has something to do with the display of your file, just in case you have this for printing. And then, excuse me, and then you have your themes. If you want your Excel to take on, if you want it to take on a different theme, so we have the formula tab. So look at all of this one after the other, but let's start from the home. So you have the cut. So the cut is universal. What the cut does is that it moves an item completely from where it is to a new location. Control X. So when you click on cut, you can come and paste it anywhere you like. So what the cut does is that it moves an item completely. That's why you have the scissors sign, and the shortcut for cut is control X. Okay, control X. All right, I'm going to go ahead and insert. So how to insert a new line? You can see you right click on this line. If you right click here, you won't be able to do some things which I'm going to show you. So can you see? All right, so but it's better to insert from here so that you have uniform table. All right, so to copy, we use the Control C. To paste, we use the Control V. All right, to bold, we use the Control B. Can you see it? Control B. I've moved to this place. For italics, you use Control I, and for underline, you use Control underline. You use Control U. If I come here and press Control U, underlines. If I press Control I, turns to italics. All right. Okay, so just before I come to this format painter, let me come back to this place. So when do you use format painter? Let's assume I have, okay, let me just come here. This is your pocket painter to fill a column. So I'll use the color yellow just for the ones we have talked about. Copy. So let me use different color for the child of this. Can just highlight everything. Okay. All right. So when do we use the format painter? Now let's assume I want to copy this Right, I click on the copy. Now when I click on this place, alright, no, let's do it this way. I have, maybe I want to retype, nothing, maybe let me just bold this, control, no. Yes, let me bold this, control B. Let me italicize this, control I. Let me underline this, control U. This place, let's just make it a bit bigger. Let's make it 14. Alright, so let me just type all of this. I'm gonna copy all of this. Alright, now so you can see this, and I want to have exactly what I have here, this format. I want to have it here. So you can either click on format painter one after the other and start clicking on it. This will take the format, the color, everything. If I click on this and click on format painter and I put it here, can you see it's giving me the same size and the same color. Let me Control Z to undo and to add it there. All right, okay. So if I want to have this color in multiple places, I click the format painter twice. 1, 2. So if you click it once, it does whatever you want it to do. But when you click on it twice, you can click it on, you can use it as, see, no response. But once you click on it twice, this is where I want to format. When you click on it twice, you can add that color, as you can just be clicking it. You can add it anywhere you like. Just brings the color without having you to repeat. When you are done, you click on it again to disable it. When you click on, let's say we click on this one with bold and double tap it. If you come here, can you see it? It just makes it easy. You understand? You can add it anywhere you like. Alright, so I'll go ahead and undo all I have done by using the Ctrl Z. Okay, so I'll go ahead and delete this using the backspace on my keyboard. So if you press the delete del, it just takes away the content and it doesn't remove this. So what you do is highlight everything, right click and do delete. So it tells you shift cells up and you're good to go. All right, so that's for now. You know how to use the bucket painter. This is for the text. I want to make this new workbook color red. I just click on it. If you want another color, just drag down and choose the color you want. Alright. Okay, then you can use this to align your text. So if I want my text to be centered, I just click on the center, it brings my text to the center. Now, when do you use the wrap text? For example, if the text is longer and you still want to maintain this column width, so you click on the wrap text, it brings you to the next line and continues to make a new line. When do you use the merge and center? Let's assume I want to create an heading for this. This is an and this is a heading for my Excel table, and I want the size to be big. Alright, now you can see that's exceeded these lines. So what I'll do is I'll highlight the lines I want, then I click on merge and center, so it makes everything just one box and centralize it. Can you see? Alright, that's when you use the merge and center. Alright, so for the rest, we'll learn how to use them as we proceed in the class. Thank you again for joining this class. Alright, so let's move on to the next, how to open a new workbook. Alright, so when you have an Excel, this is an Excel workbook. Alright, what you are seeing on your screen, this is a workbook, but this place I am working right now, this is a worksheet. So in an Excel workbook, you can have multiple worksheets. And how do you do that? You just click on the plus. This gives you a new fresh worksheet entirely. So you can have 10 workbooks, 1,000, 5,000 worksheets in a workbook. So when you save this file, even though it's one sheet, when you save this file, it is and you send it to a friend, a colleague, or a boss, it is a workbook. Alright. Okay, so how do you open a new workbook? Click on here and just click on new. Can you see blank workbook? Click on blank workbook. It gives you a blank workbook. What if you want to open an existing workbook? Just come to file, then you click on open, then it takes you to where you want to have the data, then you can just click on it. Okay, I saved this on a flash location so it wouldn't open, so you can just have maybe this. Alright, so I can work on this. So let me just close this and continue. Alright, so I've talked about workbook, I light it yellow. I've talked about this. I've talked about worksheets. Alright, so how do you move and rename worksheet? Now at the bottom of my screen you see sheet 1, you see sheet 2, you see sheet 3, you can have sheet 4. So first I'll rename this sheet 1 to, let me just say probably the outline, right? This sheet 2, let me right click on it and click on rename. I'll call it income. My sheet 3, I'll call it expenses, and sheet 4, I'll call it accounts or accounting. Alright, okay. So I can move accounting here. You can see this black line arrow. Can move it here. Can take my income to the beginning. Alright, you can have it however and wherever you want. Alright, you start taking. Just alright. So I'll just go ahead and move the outline back to the beginning. Income. Let me bring my expenses here, and that will be fine. So we have learned how to move and rename worksheets. So to delete, just right click and delete. You can also make a duplicate of an existing worksheet by right clicking on it. So you can click on copy. So ask you what you want to copy or what you want to move. So I'm creating a copy of the outline. Yes, click on it. So you can see outline 2. So I'll just go ahead and delete this. Alright. Now we move to identifying columns and rows. So I used a simpler approach or an easy approach to this. I call it column letters and roll numbers. You can see this is the column which has the letters, and this is the row which has the numbers. This is needed because in Excel you can have up to line 10,000, line 1,000. You can have multiple lines. It's endless. Alright, you can have multiple columns. When this finishes, it starts again from CZ, CAA, BBC. Once that is done, starts another again, like that. Is endless. Alright, so you need to know how to identify the columns and the numbers. So column letters, row numbers, which takes us to, please don't mind my pop-ups, which takes us to cell referencing. Cell referencing this is, now you look at this particular control plus V. Now this is column B and this is column B and row number 4. No, okay, it's 5. Row number 5. Can you see it? Column B, row 5. Column B, row 5. If I come here, this is what? Column G, row 11. Alright. Now, how do you know where you are or the active cell? You know that by looking at the extreme left. On my screen is extreme left, so I hope it's extreme left on your screen also. this place. Yeah, you can see A16. It means I'm actively on column A, row 16. Column A, row 16, and that's where my mouse is. So this green small box will tell you what cell you are actively using. All right, but in case it's somewhere hidden and you can't find it, just look at this place. You can see U20. All right, so be careful when you are using formula so you don't just override an existing cell. All right, I'm going to shift this to, let me just move it to, so now I'm using Ctrl X to cut this and paste it here. I also want to cut this and paste it here. All right, okay. Now we look at dragging and copying cells. So and I want you to pay attention to dragging and copying cells because uh, this works in two ways. All right, now let's start from the first option, dragging. Now Excel is so smart that if you type 1, 2 and you highlight this 2, you can see this, my cursor is a big box, a big plus, like a big cross. So when you click and press down, it highlights your, it highlights the columns. Then you can over to the extreme. When you over to the extreme, you can see that the icon has changed to a black tiny cross. So you can click on it and drag it down. So you can see that my number is increasing from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I don't have to be typing 3, 4, 5, 6. If you also type 1 and you skip to 3, that means we have skipped 2. Excel knows that, okay, we have skipped a number and probably this gentleman is willing to continue in this order. Can you see? Skipped 1, skipped 2, skipped 4, skipped 6. All right, so this is Excel. If you type A and B, now Excel will not do A, B, C, D for you. All right, it doesn't understand that this is AB because assuming that this is a text. But if you type probably January and February, Excel will understand this and continue. You can see January, February, March, April, because this is a structured, it's following a rigid or a structured format. All right, so now you can see the difference between dragging and selecting. All right, let me put dragging, selecting, and copying cells. All right, I think that should be that. Okay, so we have done that. Now to select, you use the big plus, select the first icon, and you can move it wherever you want. That's to highlight. All right, to drag, you come to the edge and drag. You can also come here and drag this, move it anywhere you want. It has come to any edge. You see the sign has changed to a 4 arrow headed. That's at the edge of all the, you see the lines. That's when you can move move it here, you can move it anywhere you like. Alright, dragging, selecting, moving, and copying cell. So we have done moving. Alright, okay, so we have done dragging. Now, so if we have 1 and 2 here, this is selecting. This is moving. Yeah, dragging. Alright, I hope that is taken. You can also use it for date. If I put 10, 10, 1905, right? And I drag this, it's going to continue the date for me. 11, 10, 12, 10, 13, 10, 1905. But if I put 10, 10, 1906, and I highlight these two, select these two, and drag it, can see move to 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12. Excel is so smart. Alright, okay, so when you have to do some repetitive tasks, please know what to use and when to use them. Alright, now we move, which takes us into data autofill. Data autofill, which we have looked at, yes, by dragging, that's to autofill your data. Alright, so I said you can use 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you drag this, you can see 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, and like that. So that's how to autofill your data. Okay, is there something I'm missing out? Is there something I'm missing out? Alright, I think, yeah. So, and lastly, if you are going to print this sheet using the Control P or using the file and print, you realize that there are no lines in what you have done. So the lines you are seeing here is not valid in printing unless you use this border. So what you do is highlight your work and you press down the arrow and use the all borders. So if you use the all borders, now you have an arrow. You click on Control P. Can you see it? Alright, so you can also have tick. You can go ahead and format your sheet as you like. Alright, so for my headers, for my formulas, I can decide to use tick box here. I can decide to have tick box here just to make my work neat. I can decide to have tick box here. So you have to do for each. Same here. Same here. So let's do Control P. Can you see this tick lines? Okay. All right. So in the next class, we'll start with the basics of Excel formulas. Alright, and there we might probably talk about the cell range using the shift and formula method.